Hello everybody, my name is Angela Kinde and today we're going to be talking about the company Apple. So have you guys ever wondered how much devices that has Apple sold over the years, or how much cash does Apple make? Today we're going to be answering all these questions. So as far back as 1976, Apple has dominated the tech world and is wiser for us to know how this company affects our daily lives. So today we're going to be talking about the history of Apple. We're going to be talking about the stats of Apple and how Apple affects our daily lives. So without further ado, let's get into this introductive presentation. Okay, so these are the founders of Apple. So Apple was originally founded by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. And it was founded in April 1976. And it all began in Jobs' garage. And they both were college dropouts, and they wanted to find like a more innovative way for people to use computers in their houses. I like to make computers smaller because back in the days computers were large, and they wanted to make it smaller. And in 1980, that's when Apple went public because they introduced colored graphics, which means like they just put color in pictures. Okay, so around, according to approached by Richardson, Wozniak left the group because he did not like the way the company was being ran. He felt like the company was supposed to be ran a different way. So he left the group in 1983. And so after Wozniak left, Jobs decided to hire a man as the president named John Sculley. And after he hired him, there were a lot of controversies, which led to Jobs himself having to leave the own company that he built. So now you have Apple, a corporation without the two original founders. So then Jobs went on to bigger, better things. He went on to find Next Software and also to find Pixar, like the motion Pixar that makes movies. And he didn't find it, he purchased Pixar. And over the years, Apple was doing good due to the preset motions that Jobs left behind. But then over the years, like it was destined to fail because it didn't have like an operating system, which only the founders of the company had. So they decided to hire back Jobs as the president of, no, to be the CEO of Apple again, and he came back in 2000 to become the CEO of Apple. So now that we've learned about the history of Apple, we're going to switch gears to talk about the stats of Apple. So according to MediaKicks, Apple has sold up to 1.3 billion iPhones since its 2007 launch. And Apple's stock price has increased by 15,000%, and this makes Apple's worth just $1 trillion. And this makes Apple to be the first publicly traded American company to be worth this amount of money. So Siri, everybody knows Siri. Siri sends out up to 10 billion requests per month. So if I say, hey Siri, Siri's not answering right now, but if I say hey Siri and ask a question, then I'll be part of that stat. And Apple has 268 billion cash reserves in its bank account in 2017, and this has been the company's highest earnings over the years. Okay, so now that we've learned about the stats of Apple, we're going to switch gears to know how Apple affects our daily lives. So in the world we live in, everybody wants to have the latest technology because nobody wants to be an outcast. So according to a post by Pacific Standard, technology has become a fashion, and Apple is taking good use of this by constantly introducing luxury versions of the old versions of its devices. So Apple affects our daily lives because nobody wants to be an outcast, and people who don't have Apple products nowadays are considered outcasts. So according to CNBC, people buy iPhones not because of they like the hardware, even though this is a major point, but because of the ecosystem we live in. So I used to be an Android user about a month ago, but then I switched to iPhone, and it's been a very good decision. So today we've learned and explored the history of Apple, the stats in Apple, and how Apple affects our daily lives. So Apple has been around for about 4 decades now, and it's had a worldwide effect everywhere. It's had its humble beginnings. It's had a lot of issues, controversies, but right now is still standing to be one of the best tech companies over the world. It's sold billions of its products. And if it continues in this momentum, it will definitely become one of the biggest tech company everywhere in the world. So, and it also has a great effect on our lives personally. So Apple in general helps our world today, if it's not misused, to be innovative and allows us to communicate with each other in a better, more good fashioned way. And this is Steve Jobs, one of the original founders of Apple, and he passed away in 2011 due to pancreatic cancer. And we do this in remembrance of Steve. Does anybody have any questions?
So as an Android user, why would you advise me to switch to an iPhone?
I advise you to switch to an iPhone because there are a lot of applications in iPhone that Android users don't get. So if you don't have data, you forget to pay your phone bill, you can still use FaceTime, you can still text people through iMessage if you just have Wi-Fi. So that's why it would be a good decision for you to switch to iPhone. And this concludes the presentation. Thank you for listening.